Hey guys, YouTube World here. Okay, like I told you before, like I said that I wanted to make some Survivor Series related videos, which I did, and I told you guys that there was also a certain WCW show that I also did want to like kind of make a review for that I was going to do after Survivor Series. So yeah, so now here I am to make that review. And yeah, for this review, this is going to be your review related to WCW Mayhem from 1999. So, yeah, you guys remember the video game WCW Mayhem right here? Yeah, the game that was released in 1999. Yeah, well, that same year, yeah, WCW also introduced Mayhem as a pay per view. So yeah, so this is going to be like kind of a review for that. But yeah, this isn't going to be a review for the entire show. Just what this review is going to be for. This is just going to be for the tournament matches that took place on the show to crown a new WCW champion. Yeah. So I decided to just keep this review to just like the tournament matches themselves because the rest of the pay per view I didn't really want to talk about because this was still like WCW was still like they were still on their downfall and they were just like getting really terrible at this time. I don't really want to talk about the entire show. I don't really just want to like go through like the entire show. I just wanted to stick to like the main uh, story of the show, which of course was like the tournament to crown a new WCW champion. So this is just going to be a review for the tournament matches that took place on the show. Yeah, so before I really talk about anything, I'll just give you guys like a little like just a little bit of like the recap of like everything that actually did lead up to the tournament. So, yeah. So the previous month at Halloween Havoc, there was like just some like very confusing stipulations that went on with the WCW title. Yeah, because at Halloween Havoc the previous month, like during like the like during the show, there was a scheduled WCW title match between Hulk Hogan and Sting. But yeah, in that match, like Hulk Hogan just like came out in his street clothes. He like said something to Sting and just laid down and Sting pinned him. So yeah, it was just a 3-second match. But yeah, Sting ended up winning the WCW title right there. Yeah. Then at the end of the show, like a Goldberg like Goldberg issued like a challenge to Sting or something, and then Sting accepted it, but it was like said like it was like a non-title match, but then Goldberg ended up winning the match, and like he like was presented the WCW title belt, even though it was like the title wasn't on the line. So and there was just like a bunch of confusion surrounding this. So WCW just decided to like vacate the championship, and they just like the way they played it off, like how it was vacated, was just that at the end of Halloween Havoc, Sting ended up like attacking the referee, and so Sting just ended up being stripped of the championship right there. So the title ended up being vacated, and so WCW then like held a tournament to crown a new WCW World Champion. So in the weeks leading into the show, like they did like have the tournament, this was a 32-man tournament, so there were like 5 rounds, and WCW pretty much like had this tournament in the same style that the WWF had the King of the Ring tournaments at the time, where like the first few rounds were just like on just their regular weekly shows like Nitro and Thunder and stuff, and then here at the pay-per-view at Mayhem, they then like had the semifinals and the finals to crown the champion. So on the show you did have like the 2 semifinal matches on the show, and then you also did have the final match to actually crown the champion, and on the show as well. And on the show like the two, in this tournament, like for the semifinals, it was down to Chris Benoit, Jeff Jarrett, Sting, and Bret Hart. And so like I said, this really was not a very good pay-per-view. I mean, I guess like compared to like other WCW shows at the time, I guess it really wasn't really that horrible. But the problem with this show was that Vince Russo was now in the WCW, and he'd been like in charge for about a month. And you can just like see Vince Russo is like written all over this pay-per-view because I mean, this show, it wasn't really like absolutely horrible, but yeah, the problem with it was just like on the show you just had like so much stuff like going on all around it. Like it will just like give you a headache. I mean, yeah, Lundrick reviewed this and he said like he imagines like this is what like a hyperactive child booking a wrestling show would look like. And yeah, it does really seem like that because yeah, there's just like so much going on like throughout the show. Like you can't really keep track of it, and you're just like, okay, that's enough. Like settle it down a little bit. Yeah, and that's really like how it really comes off as like just you just have so much going on. It's really hard to keep track of it. Yeah. So and for the rest of the show, like besides like these tournament matches, like the tournament matches, like they did deliver, which like really is the main reason why this pay per view really isn't really like horrible. Yeah, especially like not as bad as like a lot of the other pay per views that were going on at the time in WCW. But yeah, the main story did deliver. So yeah, that really was like the main thing going into it. Yeah, that really like stops the show from being horrible. But everything else just like is not that good. Yeah. Now let me just go over the card outside of these tournament matches. So you had uh Disco Inferno versus Evan Courageous. Is that how it's said for the cruiserweight title, which was an all right match. I mean, but given the cruiserweight division, like you would really expect a lot more. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you would really expect a lot more for this match. Yeah, and then yeah, you also did have the this was also when like WCW introduced the Hardcore Championship. So yeah, and yeah, you had like Norman Smiley win it from by defeating Brian Knobbs here, which it was okay, but yeah, it was nothing more than that. It was just okay. Yeah. The next match was pretty pathetic. Not really in terms of like the match quality itself, but yeah, what they had involved in this, or who they had involved in this. Yeah, you had the Revolution defeat the Filthy Animals in like a six-person intergender elimination tag which was it was a solid match. I will give it that, but yeah, though what is like really stupid about this match was like this had like this like match also featured Asia in it, which was just like the really like WCW's like just really pathetic ripoff of China. I mean, even the you can just like really look at the name Asia. So yeah, it's really stupid. And yeah, this was Tori Wilson's pay per view debut in WCW. Yeah, but yeah, the match overall was solid. But yeah, that Asia stuff was just ugh. Yeah, you had yeah Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, versus Buff Bagwell in a retirement match, which, yeah, it really was just like really mediocre, really not anything that spectacular. Spectacular, yeah. Uh, the next one, like, yeah, next you had, oh boy, oh, this is something I gotta talk about. Next up, you had, Vampiro versus Berlin in a dog collar match, on which, yeah, has something that I just have to talk about. So, yeah, this match was really terrible. Like, this match absolutely sucked, but yeah, it's not really like the match that really is like what people really know from it. Yeah, what you do have like about this match that is just like really well known is yeah, before the match actually started, you had Steve Williams, aka Dr. Death, like coming out alongside Oklahoma. That was just like a blatant like just mockery of JR. For this entire match, you just have like this Oklahoma guy on commentary, and yeah, you can just like really see this was just like a whole mockery of JR. Like came out to the Oklahoma song, which is of course was JR's entrance music in WWE. Yeah, the cowboy hat, barbecue sauce, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, and throughout this match, you just had him on commentary the whole time and just mocking JR, or with like the JR style voice, like, oh, there he goes, yeah, and all that stuff, yeah. And plus, yeah, you also just had him like just like mocking JR's Stone Cold stuff, like whenever like Vampiro would gain the upper hand in this match, like he would just be screaming "Vampiro, Vampiro!" Like yeah, and it just like he kept doing that over and over again through this match, like Vampiro, Vampiro. Like it was just like so freaking annoying. I just like had to skip through like watching it because I just like couldn't take it anymore. It got so annoying. So yeah, it was annoying, but maybe that was actually like kind of the idea behind this whole thing with like just mocking Jarrett, making him like seem annoying. So maybe that was like probably the ideas. But yeah, but what you really have, which really like made this like so hated, that I think, because yeah, this was like a really hated gimmick. But yeah, I think the thing that really did make it like as hated as it was that this Oklahoma guy, like he was mocking JR, but he even went so low as to mock JR's Bell Palsy. Like, yeah, you just had him like constantly like doing this throughout the whole thing. Like he was just like constantly like doing the Bell's Palsy thing, like mocking JR, which yeah, that was just like an absolute low right there. Like you don't make fun of somebody having like a disability like that. So yeah, so I really think that was really like the main in the factor that really did make this gimmick as hated as it was. But yeah, this was absolutely, it was annoying, and yeah, it was just downright low. Just yeah, this guy, whoever this Oklahoma guy is, this guy should absolutely be ashamed of himself for actually doing that. Yeah, just yeah, shame on you. And yeah, and I've even heard that Jim Cornette actually like gave this guy what he deserved for making fun of Jarrett like that. So yeah, just yeah, shame on you, whoever you are, Oklahoma. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that match, yeah, it was terrible too. Yeah. Anyway, and then moving on, then you had a Mang and Lex Luger, which was also horrible. Yeah, you had Scott Hall and Booker T for the United States and television title. Yeah, it was originally supposed to be Scott Hall versus Rick Steiner, but yeah, Rick Steiner was like written out of this match for some reason. Yeah, so the television title was just like presented to Scott Hall, and yeah, then yeah, Scott Hall was both champions in the match against Booker T, which yeah, it was like nah. Yeah, you had David Flair and Kimberly Page going at it, which yeah, it was pretty pointless. Yes, yeah, but yeah, it was really just like all the shenanigans, like you had like just they weren't even really doing much in the match, but yeah, then you had Canyon then just running in, and then you had DDP coming in, and Arn Anderson coming in. Yeah, this was just kind of like an example of what I was talking about, where you just had like everything going on, like all these guys just like coming in into the ring, and yeah, and you did kind of like have this throughout the match, like in these tournament matches, like you did kind of like have like run-ins like this, but yeah, I'll get to those when I talk about the matches in a second. Yeah, but yeah, this was just like really just so much was just like happening in just a few minutes. Like you really just like or it makes your brain like kind of dizzy from like everything that's really going on. And then you had Goldberg versus Sid Vicious, which it was all right. I mean, I guess it was decent enough. I guess. Yeah, I mean, nothing really like absolutely spectacular, but yeah, I guess it served its purpose. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like it was a solid match, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, so as you can see, like WCW like Mayhem with the show, like yeah, it wasn't really horrible, but yeah, you just had like a whole bunch of like stuff like going on with like you had like a bunch of run-ins in the match, and plus yeah that Asia crap, and then yeah that Oklahoma JR mocking shit, and all that other stuff. So yeah, so so from all the stuff going on, like you can really like, get a headache from all the stuff that's going on, and you're just like, it's really hard to keep up with. You're just like, what the hell is going on around here? So yeah, so yeah, all that stuff going on. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, with these three tournament matches, with the two semifinal matches and the final, yeah, they were like solid matches. So yeah, due to that, I guess like it's due to like these tournament matches that this pay per view really wasn't like as horrible as a lot of the other pay per views that were going on in WCW at the time. Yeah, but of course, like after this, like it would just get worse with the disastrous year of 2000. Yeah, which we're just a couple of months away from. Yeah. Yeah. But with these tournament matches, yeah, they were like pretty good matches. Like, yeah, in the two semifinal matches, you had Chris Benoit versus Jeff Jarrett, and then you had Bret Hart versus Sting. So yeah, I'm already like 15 minutes into this review, so yeah, I'll just get talking about these tournament matches now. All right, so yeah, you had Chris Benoit versus Jeff Jarrett as the opening match of the show in the first semifinal match. Yeah, and this was a pretty good match right here. I mean, yeah, this match really did go back and forth. Like, Jeff Jarrett was doing really well in the match. I mean, Jeff Jarrett had only been in WCW for I think less than a month at this point. Yeah, and like I said, I've really never been a huge Jeff Jarrett fan, but yeah, he has had some good matches in his career, and yeah, and he was really good in the match. Yeah, where it's this pay per view was in Toronto, Ontario. So yeah, so of course, the Canadian fans, they were more supportive of Chris Benoit, of course. Yeah, and this was a pretty good match right here. It really did go back and forth. Jeff Jarrett was trying to do some dirty tactics throughout the match. And yeah, and then at one point, as Chris Benoit was gaining the upper hand on Jeff Jarrett, then you had two creative control agents coming out on Jeff Jarrett's behalf. And at first, they weren't really doing anything, but yeah, after Chris Benoit then hit the suicidal headbutt on Jeff Jarrett, then one of the creative control members ended up distracting the referee. And then yeah, then the other agent then was then starting to attack Chris Benoit, and then yeah, Chris Benoit then not Chris Benoit, and then Jeff Jarrett then hit a stroke to Chris Benoit and tried to win, but then yeah, then you had Dustin Rhodes then coming through the crowd and yeah, saving Chris Benoit. So yeah, this was shortly after Dustin Rhodes had left WWF as Goldust. So yeah, I don't think this was actually his WCW debut at this point. Yeah, I think he actually did debut a couple of weeks earlier, but yeah, he did come out here and yeah, he did help Chris Benoit. So yeah, this is kind of another example of just all these run-ins and all this stuff going on. Yeah, it just really gets out of control throughout the show. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Dustin Rhodes then was going at it with the creative control agents, yeah. And then as the referee was I can't remember if the referee was out cold or if the referee was distracted with the Dustin Rhodes or the creative control agents or what. But yeah, then Jeff Jarrett then tried to nail a Chris Benoit with his guitar, and Chris Benoit was able to dodge Jeff Jarrett, and then yeah, Chris Benoit then got a hold of the guitar and then, yeah, smashed the guitar over Jeff Jarrett's head, and then that allowed Chris Benoit to get the pinfall, and then, yeah, Chris Benoit won and advanced to the finals. So, yeah, so this was a pretty good match. I mean, yeah, the run-ins did kind of mess up the pacing a little, but yeah, the match overall, yeah, it was still a pretty good match. So, yeah, I would give that match probably 3.5 stars. It was a pretty good opener and a pretty good match. Yeah, all right. And then Bret Hart versus Sting in the other semifinal match. This was kind of strange because, yeah, rather than this match really being on right after Benoit and Jarrett, this match was in the middle of the show. This match was the 6th match on the show. So yeah, that's kind of odd that they didn't really have the semifinal matches back to back. Yeah, but Bret Hart versus Sting, it was solid enough, I guess. I mean, once again, with it being in Canada, the Canadian crowd was behind Bret Hart throughout the match. Yeah, and it was solid. I mean, it wasn't great or anything, but yeah, it was solid. And yeah, I mean, Bret Hart and Sting, they did have some matches in 1998 that really weren't all that hot, but yeah, this match was better than the matches they had in 1998. Yeah, it was, once again, this was just kind of went back and forth between the two of them. Yeah, at one point, Sting ended up knocking out the referee. Yeah, and then we had a run in from Lex Luger and Miss Elizabeth, and then Lex Luger then hit Sting in the knee with the baseball bat. Yeah. Yeah, and then Bret Hart ended up just grabbing the ball from Lex Luger and then nailed him with the baseball bat, and then got Lex Luger in the sharpshooter. Then as the referee then ended up recovering, then the referee then ended up just calling for the bell. It was a little confusing at first because you really didn't know what was going on, and then the referee said that Sting was disqualified for the outside interference, but yeah, Bret Hart refused to take the win like that, and so then Bret Hart then just convinced the referee to just restart the match. Yeah, so So yeah, then yeah, the match ended up continuing, and then it was a nice ending where like Sting got Bret Hart in the Scorpion Deathlock, but then yeah, Bret Hart then was able to reverse it, and yeah, yeah, and Bret Hart was able to counter the Scorpion Deathlock into the sharpshooter, and Sting eventually tapped out. So yeah, so Bret Hart ended up getting the win, and Bret Hart advanced to the finals against Chris Benoit. So yeah, like I said, the match, it was good enough. It wasn't really like great or anything, but yeah, it was solid, and yeah, better than the matches they had the previous year. So yeah, so I would give that match probably 3 stars. Yeah, and then the main event on the show was the final for the championship: Chris Benoit versus Bret Hart. And yeah, this was a really, really good match. Maybe even great. Some could consider it like that. Some people could say it was great, but yeah, it was just like a really, really good match. The problem with it, once again, was just Vince Russo. He just like struck for this match once again. And yeah, before I talk about like the Vince Russo stuff, yeah, once again, like crowd was just like really just absolutely hot. I mean, yeah, it like this match was in Canada, so yeah, it was between like 2 Canadians, which was yeah interesting to see. Yeah, and plus it was also between 2 guys that were from Alberta. Like Bret Hart was from Calgary and Chris Benoit was from Edmonton. So yeah, interesting to see that it was not only between 2 Canadians but also 2 guys from Alberta. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, this was just a really, really awesome matchup. Like, yeah, you had some just like really good technical wrestling between both guys. Like, it just continued to go back and forth. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, like I said, just the problem with it was once again just Vince Russo. Just yeah, he just struck again for this match. Like, yeah, he just had like just several run-ins from a bunch of different people throughout the match, and it really just destroyed the pacing of the match. Like early on in the match, you had Dean Malenko interfering to try to go after Chris Benoit, but yeah, Bret Hart ended up getting rid of him. And then at another point in the match, like uh, the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash ended up getting involved, and then yeah, Goldberg then ended up coming down, and yeah, Goldberg went at it with the Outsiders, and then yeah, they ended up just like spilling out to the back as well. Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, you just had run-ins like that throughout the match, and yeah, it just really destroyed the pacing of the match because, yeah, like it really was like getting really good between Bret Hart and Chris Benoit. Like I said, you just had some really awesome technical wrestling between both guys throughout the match. It just ended up getting messed up by all these run-ins throughout the match. Yeah, but yeah, when the match actually was like focused, like it was like really, really awesome. Yeah, you had like a bunch of like submission attempts in the match. Like Bret Hart got the sharpshooter in on Chris Benoit at one point in the match, and then like Chris Benoit was able to fight out of it, and then like you get Bret Hart into the figure four. Yeah. And Chris Benoit also like used like several German suplexes in the match, and yeah, Chris Benoit also like tried to go for the crossface at a couple points in the match. Yeah. So yeah, it was just a really awesome back and forth technical match between the 2 guys, and yeah, the crowd was really hot for it. Yeah, and the ending of the match, yeah, it was a nice ending where like Chris Benoit tried to go get the crossface on Bret Hart again, but Bret Hart was able to uh, block it, and then Bret Hart was able to then get the sharpshooter on Chris Benoit, and then yeah, Chris Benoit then ended up tapping out, and so yeah, Bret Hart ended up winning the tournament, and Bret Hart became the new WCW champion. Yeah. And it was a nice post-match segment where yeah, you had fireworks going off, and then yeah, you had like Bret Hart's family coming in to celebrate it with him, and yeah, Bret Hart and Chris Benoit embraced each other. Yeah, so yeah, a nice post-match segment, and it was a great moment for Bret Hart. Yeah, especially seeing as how like Bret Hart's WCW career, like it was known to be a pretty bad flop. Like yeah, there was like an episode of the Monday Night War series on the WWE Network talking about it, and yeah, they were talking about how Bret Hart's WCW run really was pretty bad. Yeah, but yeah, after 2 years of being in the company, yeah, Bret Hart did finally get his big moment, and Bret Hart was able to win the WCW World Championship. So yeah, a good moment for Bret Hart, and especially like after like everything Bret Hart had gone through in the year, because yeah, it was the year Owen had died, and yeah, Bret Hart was really like going through like a lot of depression. He was saying that he would never wrestle again, and yeah, all this stuff, and yeah, and then yeah, WCW did give Bret Hart this moment. So yeah, so despite the fact that this was like a really bad time for WCW, and they would only get worse from this point on, yeah, they did at least like give Bret Hart his moment in the company. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and it was good, and yeah, plus also like yeah, Bret Hart's career didn't really last much longer after this. Like Bret Hart retired like only a couple months later, so yeah, this was like kind of like also a nice way to really like for him to, as he was coming to the end of his career, this was a good moment for him too. So yeah. So yeah, a nice segment, and yeah, a good moment for Bret Hart. Yeah, and it was an awesome match. I would probably give it like around 3 3/4. Yeah, really awesome, and just yeah, a good moment for Bret Hart. Yeah. All right. So like I said, the 3 tournament matches on the show, they were like good enough. So yeah. So due to that, I can't really say the show was terrible, but yeah, the rest of the show just yeah, with like just the Vince Russo stuff all throughout the show, and just like with the stupid gimmicks like Asia and Oklahoma and all that other stuff. Yeah, and everything going on. Like, yeah, this pay-per-view might like end up giving you a headache. So yeah, I can't really say that I would actually like recommend this pay-per-view as a whole. I can't even really say if I would really recommend the 2 semi-final matches. But as far as the final goes, I would recommend it, especially like if you're a Bret Hart fan. And after like, and if you really just know like how his career in WCW went, yeah, this will at least like give you the good memory of Bret Hart in WCW with him winning the title. Yeah, so I can't really recommend the show, but yeah, check out the main event. And if you haven't seen it, yeah, it's a really awesome moment for Bret Hart. All right. So yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, so this does it for my review of the tournament matches from WCW Mayhem. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah, and of course, like we do have a Thanksgiving tomorrow. Like Thanksgiving is tomorrow here in the U.S. Yeah, and I'm actually going to be going up north with my family, like my dad, my aunt, and stuff. Yeah, we're actually going to be going up to my mom's up north for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So yeah, so I'm not going to be here for Thanksgiving, but yeah. Yeah, but I do want to make a Thanksgiving review for you guys as an honor of Thanksgiving. So I'm probably going to make that a little bit later on tonight. So stay tuned for my Thanksgiving review coming later tonight. All right, but yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.